make a run for one of those top 6.
Especially with the fact that TSM yesterday went 2-0. They were one of the other teams that was hovering around that 2-win number, and now they're up to 4, and that's going to be really hard for the other teams to match. Golden Guardians actually losing to them directly, I believe. I think it was TSM beating them as well as CLGA Academy. So it's going to be tough for Golden Guardians to find these wins, and they are flying through pick ban phase, Captain Flowers.
We are going real fast. Morg, Rakan, and Yasuo all banned out by the side of Golden Guardians. As we can see, the Aatrox, the Nocturne, and the Talia banned out by the side of CounterLogic Gaming.
And so they grabbed Kindred first pick. We're talking about the Rakan being very strong. Zoe also not banned. And surprisingly, CLG Academy did not take it. They're going for a big front line right away, grabbing Tom Kench and Mundo, of all things.
Those are some big old meatballs on the side of CLG, but they will have to deal with some of the health bar exploding power of Zoe, as well as the tank shredding capabilities of the Kindred. Vlad also locked in on the side of GGS, as CLG are thinking about that Xin Zhao in the jungle.
Don't end up going with it, though. They were just thinking about it. Go with the Galio. And I gotta think what CLG Academy was looking for here was the fact that they think they can kind of exploit the lanes of Golden Guardians Academy. Mundo, basically them saying, you're not going to counterpick this. We're not really scared about what you can do. So they grab it early on. They will need to ban some of this stuff out, though, because Zig has a disgusting GP. That's always kind of what he was known for, as well as the fact that Darius is the most common counterpick. So they get rid of the Darius. I hope they get rid of the GP as well. Otherwise, that could backfire a little bit.
Mundo is just so ridiculously strong right now, too. Every single time I see one of these clips of 5 people attacking a Mundo for 15 seconds and he still doesn't die and he just runs around in circles, throwing up his mastery emote. That's what Mundo's all about. That is the essence of Dr. Mundo. We may get to see it this game. We'll see.
Yeah, Fallen Bandit has been abusing Dr. Mundo pretty hard. The first 2 weeks when people were still trying to figure out what's strong in the meta when it was at its most turbulent times, he was just like, yeah, Dr. Mundo 4 games in a row, please, thank you very much. And they went 4-0 or whatever it was during that time, and he had a 1v2 outplay against C9s. That was the one game that they lost, was when Shiro and Blabber kind of lost their minds trying to 2v1 a Mundo with no healing reduction. And
I remember, I'm pretty sure I was on that game.
Yeah, you remember that one?
Yeah, because I remember watching that and be like,
that don't look too good.
I don't know about this one. Speaking of stuff that doesn't look too good for Mundo, Gnar will be the other ban from the side of CLG. The new age, super damage heavy Rage Blade Gnar with Bork and Black Cleaver and stuff like that is actually really big nightmare for Dr. Mundo. He doesn't want to deal with that at all, so you can totally understand banning that one away for the sake of Fallen Bandit and his Mundo. Camille will be the final ban of the game over on the side of Golden Guardians.
We'll have to see if he goes with that GP I was talking about a little bit before. The Trundle is a little surprising to me. Can get abused by Kindred's mobility, as well as the fact that you don't have anyone right now to steal stats off of. There were some jungle bans thrown around, the Camille and Graves most notably, but he hovered the Xin. Doesn't look like he wants it, I guess. Instead takes a champion that doesn't feel like it has a lot of things to work well against right now on the side of Golden Guardians.
Big brain from Golden Guardians are saying, hey, you want to get rid of our front line? What if we don't draft any front line? Then what are you going to get rid of?
Yeah, and they got great kite back too. I mean, they go with Pike as well. Whoa. Okay, now they're really going for no front line approach.
No front line at all, but look at the damage potential. Pike hook into a Gangplank barrel, into a Sleepy Trouble bubble, into whatever Kindred does, into Vlad burst. You're dead.
Yeah, you're dead. You're dead. That's if it all works well, and you hope that the Gallery just doesn't ult on top of you guys and blow everyone up. That's always the other realm that can happen.
There are those possibilities. There are those possibilities, and if CLG has their way, those possibilities will become realities, as CLG will lock in the Jhin as the final pick here for this squad. Now, it was actually Golden Guardians this past weekend that broke out the first Hail of Blades Jhin in the LCS. I'm interested to see if the Hail of Blades is what CLG decides to go for here. It's incredibly powerful. Zyrene was actually talking to me about this the other day. Whenever I see him online in the client and it says in-game -practice tool, I know he's messing around with some new cheddar that he found, some brand new kind of cheese.
Cheddar.
So I have to ask him, what is that going to be? And he tells me, oh, it's Hail of Blades Jhin. Just take Celerity and get a Storm Razor, and at level 9, you get 93 bonus AD when it procs. I was like, oh, well, that seems like it shouldn't exist, but it does. And Hail of Blades Jhin is incredibly powerful.
Yep, and it works pretty well with the rest of their team comp. He's able to snipe from the back line while the Mundo, Galio, Trundle all kind of charge in there. And it is pretty good against Golden Guardians. Team Comp, who, like you said, elected not to go any front line. That's all great because the Trundle can't ult any of your stats away from you, but at the same time, there's a Jhin just sniping away, and it doesn't matter who he hits anymore. Sniping
away, and my analytical point about Zyrene was not wasted because Hail of Blades is the keystone of choice for Otto on this Jhin. See how well he can pop off with it, because he's still going to have to deal with the fact that the Pyke and the Vladimir will be looking for those kills on what is a very vulnerable champion before he's got all those move speed powers.
So that's why a lot of people combo it with the Tahm Kench. That's actually what debuted with the Hail of Blades Jhin in Academy initially, before it was popped out on the LCS stage. They were playing it with the Tahm Kench, and it kind of became the must-pick lane. It gives you a lot of survivability early on, so that way the Jhin can scale up and become a nuisance later that's hard to kill. So while there's an aggressive all-in lane at level 6, and the Tahm Kench is great at protecting Jhin, it's actually the way that Pyke is really good in the Tahm Kench, because while he has that gray health passive he can use to normally give himself a big shield, he can just use it to execute the Tahm Kench, because it, after you get to that below the threshold, it doesn't matter if there's a shield or anything. Once they're below that HP value,
it only counts HP.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of counter picking kind of going on in that bot lane, both sides having advantages over the other.
I'm going to be tracking the Kindred stacks once again this game, just like we said in game number 1. See how good Potluck does it. Getting this champion online, specifically hitting that 4-mark spot, as Sheep lands a nice early hook onto Otto. They're pulling him back for a little bit of damage, but it's the Ignite into the auto attacks that come through, and it's first blood over to Otto as the Golden Guardians bottom lane cannot stand up the power of the Jhin and the Kench.
And we're talking about the level 6 interactions. Well, you got to get there first. It's level 1, 2 minutes into the game. First blood coming through for CLG Academy's bot lane, who has been kind of the standout for this team, as well as Wiggly for the massive turnaround that they've had since the previous season. And now they're zoning Vladimir off the wave, level 1. It's absolutely brutal for the Vladimir.
Phil decides to go in. Deadly Flourish going to come out of that one. Here we go with the Devour. They bring Benji back, and the damage comes through. Sheep's not able to keep that carry alive, and now both Golden Guardians bottom laners have been killed once before 3 minutes hits the clock.
No, marksman on Vladimir. Curse continues as, hold on, Bobchin's trying to punish them a little bit for it at least.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble comes through. Phil gobbles up Otto yet again, wants to spit him over the wall to keep him safe. Phil may be the sacrificial catfish here. Does get taken down by Bobchin, so Golden Guardians do get themselves something for all the trouble they've been caused in the bottom lane.
God, there's so much to talk about this sequence. First off, marksman on Vladimir, no surprise, level 1 first blood's coming through. Feels like it's just a fact that's going to happen. Second of all,
one of the rules.
Benji got zoned off the wave and was trying to survive. Phil flashed in, he flashes in response, but then Sheep's undertow. We'll look at the first blood initially. Here we go. They land the hook. They say, "Wait, let's go in." But Tahm Kench is really, really strong, level 1, especially with that tongue lash stun coming through and the damage that comes through with the marks coming up. And so they get that kill. They zone him off the wave. Now watch this. Phil's gonna flash in really aggressively. That's all great. This pullback by Phil, or Sheep, transports him onto the Vladimir. The undertow gave him the extra gap closer to kill the Vladimir. Sheep apparently does not like Benji very much. That does, however, bait CLG into staying underneath that turret long enough for Bobchin's roam to come in, which is great that they get a counter kill back, but that's making the best of a bad situation, as they say. It's level 1 Sheep and level 1 Benji trying to find those kills.
13 to 19 CS here as well, so a little bit behind in terms of farm, but that's what happens when you get zoned away from your turret at level 1. And one of the biggest issues about this for me is the fact that that fight that got Sheep killed, that fight that started that entire calamity of events, was initiated by the side of Golden Guardians. That wasn't CLG flexing muscles and saying, look, we fight now. That was Golden Guardians doing that. And you've got to have enough knowledge of how these matchups work and where these power points are to not put yourself in that spot.
Well, and that's why we always talk about the marksman Vladimir. Like, do you really have the exact game knowledge, like you're saying, to avoid those situations? As a pretty curious TP by he was just TPing back to lane and trying to be scary at the same time.
Scare him away from the crowd.
Yeah, just scaring him away while also getting back to lane. Not bad at all. But yeah, like the Vladimir, is not a level 1 power spiking champion. You have a very long cooldown on Q compared to the Jhin with his Force Shot and Hail of Blades working together. Predator level 1 does absolutely nothing, basically.
You don't even, yeah.
You're just so far behind strength in combat that there's no reason to take anything other than a short trade. You're trying to get to 6, like I was saying, get those all-in attempts. Why are you fighting to the death level 1? It's just not understanding what you're trying to do with the lane. And this is kind of why people are being critical of Golden Guardians. Veterans who were coming in to supposedly help lead the younger guys at Bobson and Potluck, they're the ones kind of putting them in this early deficit.
Second game of the day where we have an Infernal Drake as first Drake. Second game of the day where it dies before 6 minutes, as teams are taking advantage of prioritizing that early to give themselves that nice bonus AP and AD. Now, of course, for a team like CLG, it's not going to be quite as impactful as it would be on the side of Golden Guardians, with everybody just doing as much damage as possible. But hey, you get to keep it out of their pockets.
Exactly.
You can still get some bonus damage there for your Jhin. And CLG will have to be happy about that one as they just continue pushing up here in the bottom lane. And I feel like, Mark, we're going to see Benji and Sheep on the back foot for quite a while.
We'll have to see, because they do have the GP pick to try and offset the Galio, where both teams kind of have these globals that will end up most likely going bot lane. The GP Mundo matchup is one that's a little stressful for the GP. The Mundo, if he ever lands a couple cleavers and starts getting the GP low, GP doesn't really have great self-peel tools other than cleansing CC, but Mundo has those pretty much perma-slow, so even if you cleanse one, you're still going to get hit with another briefcase. And it can lead to a situation where Mundo can all in if he lands a lot, but if he doesn't, it's mostly an even farming lane, and with the GP getting the extra bonus gold, hey, that's great for him.
That's exactly what the doctor ordered for the Bank Plank. Gangplank's game plan was always just, hey, I need 20 minutes to grab some money and then I'm going to be useful, don't worry about it. And against somebody like Mundo, you have the opportunity to drop those barrels and get that money you need, as Bobchin will continue just trying to one-shot this backline. Doesn't quite have enough damage to do it there on that attempt. But he will continue this push here on the Zoe. He is the only member on his team with a kill so far. And Golden Guardians, although they are behind in terms of the kills and there's no objectives in terms of turrets on the board, they are up in gold thanks to that gangplank you were talking about, and also because Bobchin's doing well for himself with that kill on the Zoe. And this is a champion, Mark, that if it gets ahead, cannot be underestimated.
Yeah, absolutely not. Pollock as well, having a bit of a farm lead over Wiggly, who probably lost some time on all those bot lane shenanigans. This is a big game for Zig, because if they're going to win, it does feel like it's going to come through him. Their team comp is a good team comp that can kind of go in or poke people out. And the enemy team is going to be charging at them with the Galio and the Trundle. And if you're able to land a lot of barrels on the backline that's chasing, you can maybe get ahead this game.
Phil gets himself pulled back. Golden Guardians are going fishing. It looks like they got themselves a big one. Benji grabs the kill on that, takes himself up to 1-1-1 on the Vladimir, and that's Golden Guardians getting themselves their second kill of the game.
And on the flip side, CLG tries to pressure around the top half of the map, but you see GP very good at clearing out waves under no pressure at all. And if you see the vision control for Golden Guardians on the bot side of the map, they have a ton of pink wards. No wars on the side of CLG down there, aside from that one that's not really in a great spot for catching anyone coming through a tri-brush or anything like that. So it's easily gank for Potluck to kind of just walk down there and find a kill.
And that's exactly what I want to see from Golden Guardians. If they want to start finding more of these wins, if they want to rise up in the standings, you've got to recognize those situations and be able to capitalize on those opportunities. Meanwhile, CLG Academy continuing to try to commit here to the top side. Zig will have the trophy drop down on him. Galio also coming in with the heroic entrance. They want to go even further on to Zig here. More damage goes through. The stopwatch will buy only a moment as Fallen Bandit grabs the kill, and it does take 3 men, but they finally bring him down.
Yeah, but they're basically trading sides of the map here as Golden Guardians rotated Bobchin down to threaten the bot lane turret. He's actually going to go back mid as Otto and Phil just rotate to the mid lane. People just trying to sidestep each other's pressure here. But Golden Guardians will actually be the one to grab the first turret goal, despite how disastrous this game started for them.
Nice little advantage there from the side of Golden Guardians, grabbing that bonus gold. And one thing I want to comment on right now, when it's very clear and very evident, Zig's itemization, Executioner's calling first and foremost, along with the Sheen. This is so important. Put this in all caps. Put a clapping emoji between each word. This is how you itemize. When you're against Trundle and you're against Mundo, this is exactly what you need to have.
Unfortunately, it doesn't help very much in a 1v2 dive, but...
No, not in a 1v2 dive. You're still dead as a doornail, but as the game goes on, that is going to be massive.
Yeah, you want to get that early because there's no reason to not build it. Like, by the time Mundo hits level 11, you're going to need it. That's still basically before your Triforce item timing, unless you're farming very well or getting gold elsewhere. So just get it as soon as you can. You're going to need it. He has it early on. They'll probably grab a couple others, probably Morello Namicon from either Bobchin or Benji, or both. Both of them enjoying the flat penetration. Benji's got his Spellbinder, so he's actually pretty online right now, despite how badly this game started for them. We'll have to see if they can continue to rebound, because as much as we are being critical of them for the first 4 minutes of the game, got to tip our caps when things start turning around in their favor.
Guardians? It's gone
No
well.
one can see that tip of the cap, unfortunately,
well,
that you just did.
You've let them know now. They can all imagine it in their minds as the Golden Guardians have rotated the bottom lane up towards the top side after having taken that bottom lane tier 1 turret for themselves. They'll continue trying to apply some pressure up here, staying even in terms of farm with their opponents. But Otto is at that point that I was talking about with Hail of Blades Jhin, where he's got the Storm Razor and he can do quite a lot of damage. The Hemo Plate comes down, Phil going to be in some trouble, spits Otto back out. They want to get him away from
he's too high.
Sheep is going to be taken low. Potluck comes in to try to make sure this doesn't go the wrong way. Benji grabs the kill onto the enemy support, and Golden Guardians walk away +1 on the play.
That was a bit of a dangerous situation there, as Golden Guardians actually had not gotten Phil low enough for the execute to come through from Sheep, so he actually stayed alive, you know, at about 1,000 extra HP due to that great health, as a little bit scrapping in the mid lane. But they had good enough vision control once again by Golden Guardians on the top side, as they're now trying to stop this Rift Herald from going down.
And the 4th one? Nope. All 4 go wide. Otto tries to scare Golden Guardians away from the objective. Can't quite hit the marks just yet, but the rest of CLG Gaming Academy have found their way in the fight. And Wiggly, who actually steals the objective out now as the Lamb's Respite comes down. Potluck will try to buy himself as much extra time as he can, but it's only a moment as Phil grabs the kill onto him. And CLG Gaming come out big on that one, taking objective and kill alike.
That's a big swing, like you're saying. That's a kill, and the Rift Herald will turn most likely into a turret take very shortly. So that's a huge swing, and it's kind of getting too greedy with that bit of pressure they have. Phil, with the lower respawn timers on the patch, is back alive. He can ult in quickly to join in this fight, able to hold this one up. And then Potluck, the fact that he ulted there might have saved Tuesday. They might have been able to trade 1 for 1 at worst, but tries to keep himself alive, keeps Tuesday alive as well, and then the rest of the side of CLG can keep chasing down. Off the back of that skirmish in the top lane, like I was saying, a little dangerous by Golden Guardians. They have had really good vision control around all these places. They know that they're safe going for them, but they got to clean the execution up.
And honestly, this game is so close between these two teams. 100 gold separates them. Execution errors could be what decides this, quite honestly. Your Nexus could blow up depending on whether or not you make a minor mistake in one of these fights. Rift Herald summoned up in the mid lane by Wiggly. See if maybe they can find the kill onto the turret with this one. Will one headbutt do it? One headbutt will do it. Take down the tier 1 as Tuesday doesn't want to stick around anymore.
Nope, just trying to push that wave out. Good job by them grabbing that turret. Like I said, losing that Rift Herald, being too aggressive, costs them their mid lane turret. This is very dangerous because it allows Galio to go roaming a little bit more, that he can push the wave off. And Shelly gets the second headbutt.
I'm really surprised to see that. I thought for sure she would drop without getting that off, but she had 150 or so HP remaining as she lands the headbutt. Considering Rift Herald HP doesn't actually affect the headbutt damage nearly as much anymore, she still manages to take off almost half of that tier 2's health. Golden Guardians will now give the blue buff over to Bob to provide more opportunity for him to continue to spam those trouble bubbles and those paddle stars as we get further and further towards the mid game. Ocean Drake #1, second elemental Drake of the game, going down rather rapidly here to both Fallen Bandit and Wiggly.
And that makes it 3-0 in CLG's advantage for neutral buffs taken, as the Rift Herald was stolen away by them. And that's one of those things that can accumulate over a game. We're talking about execution errors maybe deciding it, but also mistakes around global objectives as well. Currently going in CLG Academy's favor. If this game continues to go late, maybe that's what ends up deciding the game.
And remember, CLG Gaming Academy is coming into today's game off the back of a really tragic throw yesterday, so we'll see how well they can keep the mental game going here as it's yet another multi-man dive on to Phil and Otto as the deadly flourish comes through. Potluck gonna drop the Lamb's Respite, trying to get himself away. Drowsy into the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, down onto Otto. Bobchin grabs the kill, taking him out. It's a 1-for-1 as Potluck falls on the side of the Golden Guardians.
Benji did a really good job there wrapping around so that as Potluck was forced off the turret and Otto wanted to start ulting to threaten killing him, Sleep was landed by Bobchin, and then Benji grabbed the backside of the turret to land an EQ and finish off Otto. That's going to allow them to start trading these turrets out. But once again, CLG Academy not letting this go unanswered, forcing plays on the bot side.
And here's what you talked about earlier, Mark. The one cleaver hits, more cleavers hit Mundo situation that can be very difficult to deal with for the Gangplank. You can see the flash being forced away down there in that bottom side as Fallen Bandit and Wiggly try to apply some pressure to the turret, but with no more minions, they're forced to back away as we take another look at the top lane down here.
And here, Phil tries to flash in, protect Otto, wants to keep him safe. Not really any threat onto Otto quite yet, but either way, trying to keep him alive. And there's where Otto starts trying to open up on the Potluck. Bobchin lands a nice sleep, and Benji wraps around the side to blow him up. Would have been nice for Phil to have his Devour there. Unfortunately, did not have it. And as a result, they find that one kill. They grab the turret. Was answered on the bot side by CLG Academy, but they weren't able to find the kill.
Golden Guardians Academy continuing to just move up, always trying to make plays onto Otto and Phil. These are the two guys that they've decided they are going to go after time and time and time again. They can't quite find the kill this time around as they'll decide to all back away as a unit. A lot of bodies from CLG deciding to respond to this one. As you can see, Tuesday hangs out nearby, clearing out some of the Raptor camps on his own side, but he doesn't have the hero's entrance to make his way into that fight just yet. So CLG not really looking for any blood.
Not quite yet, and you gotta say, Golden Guardians are doing a good job of forcing kind of defensive and reactive ultimates out of Tuesday. It would be scary if they were successfully diving the GP, but it's all about preventing dives on Golden Guardian's side, which are still largely working out, so a really good job by them. The only problem is Mundo seems to have grabbed control of this laning phase with the fact that Zig has got no help thus far in the game.
Zig's also got no flash after the last escapade that he had in the bottom lane against the enemy top and jungle duo, and that means he is done. Fallen Bandit picks up a solo kill.
Big problem there now that the GP
Big problem, Big Mundo.
Big Mundo is a big problem as Zig is now kind of getting solo kill territory. All these plays down around the bot side has meant that there's been no support for Zig at all, and it was acceptable for the first time. Second time it starts to become a problem, and the third time you see he's just dead to rights.
Which is not good for a champion that is one of those, probably the poster boy for carry top laners for the longest time. The champ, you said it earlier, Mark, and you said it well, he just revolves around getting gold. That's what Gangplank does. He's a greedy pirate. Yeah. And if you can't get gold, if you can't be ahead in terms of economy, what are you going to do compared to this massive meatball rampaging through your lines?
Yeah, that's the tough part is both them scale super well with gold. The thing is, usually GP is guaranteed to more of it due to his passive, and then he can outperform Mundo in the team fights with all his AoE damage. You don't need to hit a single big meatball, but if you're behind, you can't do that.
Bobchin may be in some trouble here from the curtain call. Multiple shots come through, only finding their way onto Sheep, who goes into the camouflage to prevent himself from being hit from other sources while also blocking the bullets onto his mid laner.
And he gets to regen it all back up pretty quickly. So you see with that passive, he's invisible while taking damage, you still get to heal up right away.
Makes it very, very difficult to have any meaningful impact with that ultimate from the side of CLG and Otto. Still only level 10, so that's just a level 1 ultimate as well. There's no way that thing was going to find a lot there with the way Sheep was positioning it. Very well played from him, as Tuesday will continue pushing up here on the top side. You can see the Vladimir for Benji. 2 needlessly large rods in inventory means he's looking for that Rabadon death cap. You mentioned earlier how you hope to see a Morello Namicon out of one of these mages, but now bottom side, Counter Logic Gaming Academy hopes to see yet another dive onto Zig as Fallen Bandit will chase him down. Wiggly comes in and flashes forward to make sure he gets chomped for the auto attack. Topside, it's Tuesday, who has no way out as Sheep gets in the field.
Totally not even traded at all, though, even though it's a 1-for-1. CLG has all the map pressure. They have 3 lanes pushing, so that kill for Golden Guardians happens on their side of the map. They can't trade back for any turrets, and CLG is going to be able to grab 2 for themselves, despite it only being a 1-for-1 kill trade.
One of the most important things about League of Legends, it's not just the kill, it's what does the kill mean. And for Golden Guardians, the kill meant, hey, $300, cool. For CLGA, it means a lot more.
Yeah, it's all about map position. That's the thing people never track. Oh, you know, we picked a fight, great. You picked it in a terrible spot on the map. You picked it on your side, picking off a guy in the side lane while your teammate gets dove. You have no wards basically on the bot side, as well as the fact that Phil can use his ultimate to collapse down there, and they instantly lose 2 turrets as a result. One of the most important things, where you pick those fights. You pick a risky fight on the top half of the map post 20 minutes, say goodbye to Baron.
The big purple throw machine just becomes the big purple machine at that point. If the enemy team is all dead, there's nothing you can throw to, as Golden Guardians, once again, thinking about kindred marks, and Wiggly, once again, trying to make sure they keep those thoughts to themselves. Fallen Bandit is on Ocean Drake duty, but Zig wants to think about stealing this one away. He'll bring his jungler down towards this objective.
Well, both teams are converging now as Trundle's making his way in. Both want the smite.
Pollock's going to be here sooner. He decides it's time to just try to burn it down real quick. He will do so. Grab himself the Ocean Drake. Has himself positioned near the wall as well, so we can jump over that one. Fallen Bandit going to continue the chase as CLG Academy have found themselves the opportunity to go for this fight. Jin Bullet finds its way onto Sheep, manages to slow him down a little bit, makes him flash away from the briefcase of Fallen Bandit. It's an Ocean Drake over to Golden Guardians, but it's a kill for CLG.
Yeah, kill on their side. They force Potluck back as well, get some summoners out of him. Don't look like they want to risk it on the Baron quite yet. As Zig goes 0-4-0 on the game. I was talking about how this was a big game for him to step up into Mundo. You get the counter pick, gets 0 help from his team, continues to get dove and killed. And things have gone very poorly for him. Potluck still only on 2 bounties, like you're saying. Anytime you get into a split map situation on Kindred, it can be very difficult if you're not getting fortunate marks. And it feels like that's one of those games where they have not been able to find anything for him while he's forcing all this bot lane action.
I mean, let's take another look at this play that happened. They got the Drake, but got him killed.
Yep, so Zig is trying to help get the Baron and started it up. A Trundle Pillar stops him from being able to run. He has his flash available. Maybe could have flashed out earlier, but wanted to save it. As a result, Zult just gets killed. This Fallen Bandit aggressively flashed the wall to try and chase down the Kindred, but coincidentally also set him up to wrap around onto the other side of the fight.
Situation like this feels pretty dangerous if you're on the side of Golden Guardians, because CLG have complete control over the Baron and River area. They've got wards down in the enemy jungle, and it's up to Golden Guardians to break into that fog, get some vision down to their own, and make sure CLG is not sneaking such a big objective.
No, it's very difficult for them to walk up, though, because we talked about how they have this no tank team comp into the moon or the Trundle so that they can't steal all your stats. But once again, how do you walk forward and face check a Baron if you can't?
Nobody's a tank.
No one's a tank, and it's not even like the tank echo, or excuse me, not echo, Pike that you sometimes see, where they build a couple.
He's got Aftershock.
You got Aftershock, but sometimes you see people building more defensive, where it's like, all right, I can't get any health, but I can at least get resistances. He's got a Caulfield's Warhammer, with a longsword. Really, really not tanky at all. No resist built.
No resistances whatsoever. The stopwatch in his inventory is broken as well, so no playmaking potential through the stasis. Rabadon's death cap completed for Benji means he has all that extra AP. And I was talking about this before a fight broke out in bottom lane, but sometimes you see Vladimir's go for something like this. Other times you see him go for an item that will add less outright power, but just more utility, something along the lines of Zhonya's Hourglass, maybe in a game like this with multiple enemy healers, a Morello Nomicon. And I'm not sure the Rabadon's is the right choice here. We'll see if it is. Maybe he ends up going into the back line and just obliterating auto, and that's the entire goal.
Right, and I think that's when the kit makes the most sense, especially on bot lane Vladimir's, where you have a little bit more access to gold, you have a support to give you setup and things like that. I'm surprised to see the Predator taken, but it still makes sense. But you do go for that one-shot build focus, so trying to maybe find something here. Predator was popped, not able to actually heal for anything, and now CLG turning around.
Return coming out from CLG Academy. The bullets go flying through as the hero's entrance comes in from Tuesday. Fallen Bandit going to be yoinked back right towards the rest of the team. Now has to get himself away, but that is just Mundo doing what Mundo does best. Baiting the enemy team in, keeping himself alive, and now providing a chance for the rest of the team to run these guys down. Potluck gets taken out, but it's a return kill coming through from Bobchin as Tuesday's going to make it a triple kill, going over to the Golden Guardians mid laner. More damage coming through from the Paddle Stars. Ooh. Sleepy Trouble Bubble not quite finding the damage yet. Paddle Star won't connect there either. Counter Logic Gaming Academy looked like they had a pretty good fight going for them, but Bobchin turned that around, made big plays here on the Zoe. Fallen Bandit.
Oh! The unseen bubble.
Oh, I hate that
Deadliest.
champion.
Brief moment of honesty there out of Captain Power.
Just watching that whole thing transpire was great. Let's take another look at how the Golden Guardians made this fight sing.
Yeah, a bit of a who's baiting who situation as Fallen Bandit runs around to the front side of the fight, pops his ult pretty early, so he actually does a sizable chunk of damage to himself, but he's regenning it up, he's running forward, I'm a big dumb Mundo, please don't kill me guys, and then it kind of baits the side of Golden Guardians and going very deep in this fight. But now it's Golden Guardians' turn to bait. They have the Lamb's Spike come down, they stay alive. Pollock's able to kite this one out, and over the side, Benji and Bobchin are just helping people non-stop. And now, both sides, frontline have kind of either died or gotten very low, and Benji, as Vladimir, that sustain tank, is kind of able to start frontlining for his team, leaves this long chase down sequence where once again, who's baiting who? Benji getting rooted up, Otto wants to go in, but this kind of baits Fallen Bandit to turning around. And there's that champion that you love so much.
There's a Sleepy Trouble Bubble coming in to secure that one, and Bobchin is 6-0-1 on the Zoe, 7 out of 9 kill participation. He's got 3 big ticket items as well as the completed Sorcerer's Shoes. This guy's a monster. Back when he got the first kill for Golden Guardians after the 2 CLG kills early on in the game, I said, this is the guy that you want money on. If he gets out of control, that's not a champion that you can take lightly when it's ahead. And now Golden Guardians is at a spot where this guy is a serious win condition.
Yeah, it's surprising that he got there too, because CLG Academy's comp is 4 meatballs and a Jhin, right? So you think, hey, that's great against Zoe. We can kind of run at her and she just pelts away and it's not a big deal. But when she gets this far ahead of the rest of the game, a full 3 items completed as everyone else is finishing off their third, she can actually start doing substantial damage to the members of CLG Academy, who do have to build a fair amount of armor to deal with Potluck and Zig. So Benji and Bobchin are able to go against 1 MR item versus your 3 AP.
Fallen Bandit positions himself rather aggressively, wanting to clear out some vision, drop down some of his own, but as soon as he realizes the whole squad's coming for him, he says it's time to get the hell out of town. As Counter Logic Gaming Academy move on to this 3rd Ocean Drake of the game. Will be their 3rd Elemental Drake total. Grabbing that one for their side. 1 more Elemental Drake to go, and it will be Cloud number 1, spawning just 6 minutes from now. CLGA still up 1,500 gold, but quite honestly, Mark, this game is still about as close as you could ask for. Yeah, we're not on the less than 100 gold separates the 2 team status anymore, but as the game goes on, we all know that the gold difference means less and less. So 1,500, 27 minutes into the game?
Especially when the scaling is up for debate, as Sheep getting a little frisky. Doesn't get picked off or anything. But this is a game where the scaling's extremely close, right? Because Zig is the late game scaling GP, who's always a threat as, here we go, now Sheep's in trouble.
Sheep going to be beaten down by the club from Wiggly as Fallen Bandit goes towards the back line. Wants to try to lock these guys down as long as he can, also making sure he's very respectful of the damage potential that could come out from Bobchin, Benji, and Potluck put together. Enemy team has lost their support, and for CLG Academy, that means it's time to head towards Baron. If nothing else, look to bait that one out. Drowsy finds its way onto the Tahm Kench. Phil won't taste any follow-up damage from the Paddle Star that time around.
They did have a blue trinket just get used on the Barons. They know they're not there, that's why they're sticking to the right side.
Tuesday wants to go in onto this one. Clin's going to be used there from Bobchin. Fallen Bandit looking to continue this chase. If they get Bobchin, that is massive. That's your green light for actually going towards Baron, because the Zoe can no longer stop you. Shut down credit over to Tuesday.
800 gold shut down as well with all the bonuses that came in to shutdowns. It's a monstrous amount on a Tuesday. And now, like you said, they can turn on to this Baron buff. The pickoffs for CLG starting to work for them as there's no front line available for Golden Guardians to stop Otto when he opens up. First time they got Sheep down. Now they got Bobchin because no one could get in the way of the Mundo just charging at them.
Look at how carefully Counter Logic Gaming are playing around this Baron. There's no just run in there and get it. There's no, hey, I think we can. This is a team that very clearly threw a 10,000 gold swing yesterday at Baron and is making damn sure they don't do it again.
I like how it's not like this is a team that understands how to close the game out. It's like this is a team that messed up yesterday.
This is a team that all too recently knows all too well what that Baron mistake can cost you, and when it's that fresh in your mind, you just don't do it twice.
With that 800 gold shutdown as well, Tuesday has tied up Bobchin in items. You see, now only down about 700, 800 gold. Not nearly as bad as it was before.
Not when you get that massive payday just from grabbing that first kill onto the 6-kill opponent.
1,500 gold advantage becomes a 700 gold advantage, just like that.
Cutting it right in half. As Bobchin, now back alive, will continue providing that long-range damage. Anytime somebody walks too close to some terrain, a bubble will go flying out. Wiggly has the Elixir of Iron purchased as well. You can see by the little particles floating around him that he'll be able to provide that trail for everybody to chase after him, because he's always the guy in the front line. We're seeing him land the pillars, just pop the ulti and go running towards somebody. As Sheep tries to fire off the hook, he will be rooted up, and there comes your damage. He just has no way to survive this. He's so far forward.
Yeah, I just don't even understand what he's looking for. If he landed that hook on the Tuesday, it would have just pulled the taunt on top of him.
Here comes Phil into the back lines, bringing in the Galio now as well. They've still got Wiggly hanging out here. As Potluck goes into the Lamb's Respite, wants to try to take somebody with him, but he can't quite do it. The dancing grenade seals his fate. Wiggly grabs the kill, and CLGA will continue this push into the enemy base. Fallen Bandit just sticking to Benji like glue. One more briefcase will do it. That one goes a little bit wide, but the damage still finds its mark anyway. The shutdown credit goes over to Fallen Bandit, who's now trying to chase down that enemy mid laner, and Zoe goes poof as CLG Academy looks to push into this enemy base. They've got Otto in the bottom lane, everybody else in the mid lane, pressuring 2 inhibitors at once. It's Zig and Sheep versus the world, trying to hold on for another 15 seconds.
Yeah, we talk about not needing Baron buff. They want to play safe around it. Just don't get it. Just find them.
Throw a Baron if you don't get Baron.
Bait the enemy team to somehow looking for a fight next to your turret, even though they're down. Kill them all, and then take their base. Why don't other teams draw this one up?
I mean, now you've also got the middle and bottom inhibitors down, so it's pretty easy to do Baron. I mean, they come play the Baron dance with you, their base is just going to get bulldozed.
Yeah, we see Fallen Ben has no problem running at people. They have no base anymore to try and
He's got the Mundo mechanics.
Yeah, he got missed a couple briefcases. But great fight out of him. He grabs a locket of all things. He says, I got this giant HP pool, time to convert it into a shield for the rest of my team.
Like, all right, Vladimir wants to cast Hemo Plague, don't care. We're just going to use this, stop that from affecting anybody.
What a team player. Most Mundos, they say, you know what I could use? I could use another HP item. Or if they're trying to be selfish, real selfish, they're like, I could use a Titanic
Hydra Mundo.
He's running people down, trying to kill them by himself in the backline. In all honesty, it might be a better option than the locket when he's never near his team.
No, I love the Titanic Hydra purchase on Mundo. I think it's fantastic with the amount of health that you build and getting a second auto attack reset. Boom, boom, boom. 3-hit punch. Everybody's done. But this time around, it will be that more team-focused build from Fallen Bandit. 3-1-5 on the Mundo, 7-1-4 on Wiggly's Trundle, 2-1-7 on Otto's Jhin. Only 1 death for each one of these players. This is that you make a mistake and then you learn from it philosophy, Mark. You find yourself dead one time, you say, nope, not anymore. I like my screen in full color.
Yep. We see, once again, Golden Guardians almost getting caught out of position. Fallen Bandit now. They take half his HP.
Mundo, though.
Yeah.
Does that really work?
They hit him with a lot of abilities at half HP, did not even feel the need to ult. Warmog's is ticking, his passive is ticking. He's back up to full in about 1 second.
Yeah, they hit him with everything, and now none of it mattered. Back into the pit they go as CLG Academy will look to secure the Baron for themselves. Fallen Bandit is going to be on interception duty, trying to keep Golden Guardians out. Sheep has to run away. Mundo will once again be the target of so much damage from Golden Guardians, but it's not going to do a whole lot just yet. Benji into the back lines, looking to drop the Hemo Plague onto multiple people. Instead, going to be killed off first. Golden Guardians now in a 4 versus 5. They try to run themselves away, but Bobchin will be shot to pieces. More damage coming through, and damn, that was timed right. A double kill over to Otto.
And Tuesday's using the TP with Phil to transport people right into the base. They don't even want to finish the enemy team off. They just want to stop them from getting home.
All they need to do is go for that Nexus. They grab Potluck first. Tuesday wants to continue looking to chase down Zig as Sheep tries to get away and grab some healing. It's Otto grabbing a rampage off of a delayed triple kill. Zig will run away. The Nexus can't do the same. And just like that, it's CLG Academy grabbing a win, bouncing back from the throw yesterday, making it so they're still one of those teams that you got to look out for.
Absolutely. A bit of a rough game as they fell prey to some split map plays. The Vladimir being able to bounce back after the level 1 first blood, but once the game slowed down, broke open a little bit more. You saw how many times CLG Academy could just force down the mid lane because there was no one on the side of Golden Guardians to step up and stop that aggression.
And that's what we were wondering about from the very beginning, Mark. Looking at the draft, looking at how Golden Guardians played this, no tank, which can work versus Trundle to shut down the ultimate potential, but at the same time, now you have no tank.
Yeah.
Which means when you're checking these brushes, when your opponents are ahead, it becomes so very hard to contest those blind spots like you were talking about.
It's definitely a comp where you need to be ahead, and they were not quite able to do that on the side of Golden Guardians as a lot of things happened in the early game.
Well, let's go ahead and take a replay at some of those things right now. The first 3 kills in bottom lane is what I want to look at because this was rather explosive.
Right, and you take the Q level 1 on Pyke of all things. Most people start E because it's a little stronger in a fight. Some people take Q. Either one's fine, but either way, you should not be forcing it all in as he walks way too far forwards. Got eaten up or sunned up there by the Q, and this leaves Benji all alone as the Vladimir. He starts getting zoned away, can't quite walk up to the wave. Now they have level 2s. He has to back all the way off the turret, which is fine. He's kind of baiting the enemy team. There's not much he can do here. And then Phil gets really aggressive and flashes in, so they trade flashes as needed to dodge the root. But then, Sheep, you just threw Phil on top of your Vladimir. Benji goes down again. Like you said, eventually Bobchin roams down from the mid lane. He gets that first kill, and that kind of sets him off on the races to start going 6-0 on Zoe, which is great and all, but there's still no front line to protect the Zoe when she wants to pop over and try and snipe somebody down.
Speaking of Zoe, that's actually where I want to turn our attention next because it was Bobchin on this champion who ends up getting himself a triple kill plus another at the end of it, 24 minutes into the game. Let's take a look at how he plays this fight.
And this is one of the fights that did go in Golden Guardians' favor. It's the typical CLG running at you with all their melees and CC comp, and they actually do a good job hiding it out on the side of Golden Guardians. This is what their comp wants to do. They use the Kindred ult to bait a couple low health members, so this entire time Benji and Bobchin can sit over walls further back and try and pop people and get them low. And they are able to find a handful of kills during this long chase down sequence on the side of CLG Academy. But that's the best fight that they found all game long. And eventually got to the point where the fight started with Sheep dying right at the very beginning because he would walk too far forward, doesn't have any way to peel people off himself. No one has any way to peel anyone off of anybody, and so he went down numerous times at the start of fights.
I think you said it best when you said this comp works from ahead, but when you're not ahead, your sentiment when we saw Sheep get picked in the mid lane was actually perfect. What was he going to do? What was the hook for? Where were the plays? Where were the opportunities going to be, even if that succeeded, because the team just wasn't in a spot to make it happen? And let's take one last look at the final fight to see how it happened for CLG.
And you see once again here, Sheep wants to walk forward to try and get some vision down, gets cut off by Fallen Bandit, instantly has to go into retreat mode, flips him back over the wall, and Fallen Bandit says, thank you very much for the extra gap closer. Now I can run around at your team. Benji tried to wrap around the flank. Good decision there by CLG to wrap back onto the one threat that really exists on the side of Golden Guardians and finish him off. Bobchin now is just a no-escape Zoe, gets picked off as well. Once those 2 damage dealers are down, Zig is super far behind on the GP pick, can't really threaten very much. The TPs come in to the front side of the base, and now they're stuck between a lot of frontline members on the side of CLG Academy.
I mean, when Vladimir ults everybody on the enemy team and he's in a pool and doing Tides of Blood onto 5 different people, sometimes that can be disastrous. Other times, he's too far away from the rest of the team and there's just no way to sync it up. Benji gets completely exploded in that final fight, and there's just no way to recover from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was one of those games where if everything went right, you can see the Golden Guardians comp working. They had the bot lane plays that they were forcing really well. Zig is up on an island, and hopefully the GP can do enough for himself to clear waves and farm up. And then when you hit 20 minutes, your bot lane should have been winning, your top lane should have been fine, and then you start vision controlling and poking people out around objectives from behind, and you're trying to face check the enemy team. That completely falls apart. Pyke is one of the worst supports in the game for walking forward, and you got to see why there.
Well, to hear more about the victory now, I'd like to go ahead and welcome CLG Academy's top laner, Fallen Bandit, to the broadcast once again here via Skype. Fallen Bandit, welcome, and congratulations on the win.
Hey, thanks for having me. We're really happy about that win.
So talk to me a little bit about it, because it started great. You had this bot lane dive, and you're up in the top lane isolated from it, and then things turn around a little bit, kills start going in their favor. So what was your mentality as the Mundo in this game?
Also, when we got the early game kills, I was like, Oh, that's really good, guys. That usually doesn't happen, but I'm really proud of you guys this time around. Like, it was a level 1 kill, and then I saw us diving in between 2 towers again. We killed the Vladimir. I was like, was that his TP? Is he like out of this game mentally now? But for Muno top, I was just planning to like just farm up, throw cleavers. I think me and Zig were like farming for like 8 minutes straight with like just no interaction between each other. So it was pretty much whatever.
The classic top lane, I'll kill your minions, you kill mine. Let's just not worry about the PvP aspect for a little while. But one thing I want to talk about is yesterday we saw your squad make a Baron call against 100 Thieves. It went awry, and the game then turned around. Today, we saw you play very carefully around Baron. Even after grabbing picks onto your opponents, setting up for Baron, you could see everyone back away and say, no, we're going to make sure we play this as slowly and methodically as possible. What was the plan specifically around Baron this game to make sure that when you guys went for it, it was that kill blow?
Yeah, so this time around, we looked at the timer. It's 20-ish minutes. There's a 2 in the timer. If that does not say a 3 or 30 minutes or above, we are not touching that Baron this time. So, because we saw in the game before, Cloud9 also went for that early Baron. I was like, oh, that's exactly what we did yesterday. That's exactly what Optic did. Let's not do that again.
Yeah, I mean, there was that.
And,
oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, no. That was pretty much it. We pretty much learned that if you're trying to rush that early Baron, chances are you're probably going to throw the game. You're coin flipping it for the enemy team.
So the general rule is, if the 2 is the first number on the clock, you stay the hell away from Baron.
Don't answer that question. That's going to help the enemy team, Cap Flowers. What are you trying to do? You're trying to catch their stride?
I'm trying to get life advice for everybody in the chat, everybody watching at home.
This is for you personally. Okay.
Yeah, this is for me. This is for all of us out there learning the lessons of the Baron. Fallen Bandit, thank you so much for talking with us. Once again, congratulations on the win. Looking forward to seeing more out of you guys as the split goes on. Good luck in the future.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, Mark and I are stepping away for another quick break, but when we return, it's game number 3 of the afternoon with FlyQuest Academy taking on 100 Thieves. We'll be right back.